Mike here. I've been absent from YouTube for a couple of months. The winter weather has been difficult in my shop. Cold and rainy and wet and miserable, so I decided I had to build a laboratory. So what we have here is it's an 8x10 steel shed, purchased at Lowe's, $350. It's a kit, you have to assemble it. And it's designed to go on a concrete pad. Manufactured in Australia, by the way. I put it on a 2x6 frame on 16-inch centers, sitting on 4x4s, all treated lumber. You'll see there's 3 4x4s, and there's 2x4 spaced evenly in between. That's simply because I built this thing at work, and I had to load it with a forklift and use 6-foot forks. So if I would have just left it with 4x4s, it could have got a little tippy. So I wanted to be careful. I'll review this more. You can't really see right now because of the snow, but it has these U-channels that all the water ends up draining into. It's causing me some grief, but I did try to address it with some flashing that curls up on the inside. So most of the water ends up leaving, but I have a few tricky spots I'm going to have to address. Need to do some work with the latch. I don't have an inside latch as of yet. Rocks are sticking to my feet. It's been in the 20s all week and in the high teens. And we're on our way to the 40s here. But first we get a little snow on the way there. So, wish I had a wider angle lens. This shed, which actually works out to about 7.5 by 10 feet, is insulated with 2 inches of polyisocyanurate, which is about R13.1 or something. And it's pretty well done continuously. All the walls and the ceiling, it's just pretty much taped to fit. The only piece that's really secured is the one on the door here. You can see I have these like 1x3s or something. That are screwed from the outside to clamp it, to hold it in place. But the rest of it is just tight fits, taped. The piece at the top, the 2 pieces as they join together here at the top, I just, they actually fit pretty well, and they weren't going to fall. Just the weight of them against each other and then against the outside wall kept them in place. But in addition to that, I have the 2x4 that runs up over the top and down the sides. That serves 2 purposes, one to hold it up and another one just for the light. But other than that, there's really no structural members in this thing. Even all the walls, if you could see, there aren't any structural pieces in them. It's just the corrugations as they're screwed together. So all the structural pieces are in the bottom, which is just that U-channel track, and in the top. And then the heaviest piece, there's a ridge piece that goes across the top. It's not the best, but for the money, I was able to put the whole thing together and insulate it for about $1,000. Oh, by the way, the floor is 3/4 inch plywood. There's R19 insulation fiberglass. There's a little overkill, but to get, I'm sorry, I said it was 16-inch centers. It's actually 24-inch centers. So to get the 24-inch centers, I ended up going with the 2x6 insulation, which worked out to be R19, but whatever. Like I said, $1,000 plus the cost of the light, which was probably about $80 with the LED bulbs, all the electrical stuff I had. So I built the place to work on refrigeration equipment. I've been slowly getting this thing done. I built the whole shed and everything in a course of 2 days, and then I insulated it over the course of about 2 days. I needed a temperature regulated environment for testing the fridge. The cold weather wasn't allowing the fridge to run nearly often enough. I mean, if it was cold enough, it could be off for 3 days straight without actually kicking on. So in this way, I have a small electric heater in here right now, which is rigged up to a thermostat temporarily. I don't want to show it because I'm pretty ashamed of it, but it works quite well. It keeps the temperature right around 68 to 70 degrees. Probably can't see that all that well. It's actually a yellow line there that jumps up and down. It's jumped a lot more recently, just simply because of the fact that I've been in and out a lot. but it runs quite regularly, probably about 50% of the time when the temperature is below 30. So I'll keep an eye on that, see how that goes. But probably takes somewhere around 350 watts of electricity, 350 watts heating load continuously. The heater is a 1500 watt heater, but I have it set on low, which is about 750 watts. And then, like I said, it runs about half the time. So, 350, 375, something like that. The intention was mostly just the refrigerator. I'm not planning on doing a lot of work in here, not a lot of actual brazing and stuff like that. I need to get the fridge to the point where I can actually pull the cooling unit back out and take it into the shed to service it, to braise, to hack, do whatever I got to do, and then bring it back in here for testing purposes. That big ass fridge there in the corner, that thing is it's actually just the bottom of a regular freezer or freezer fridge combo. See that I actually cut it off right there because I intend to cut a hole in the top of it and use that. This thing will look a little better on there. I know it has the capacity to cool that. I can stock it with more beer. It's a little bigger than I really need. Once I got it in here, I realized just how big the stupid thing is. But I'm probably going to go ahead and use it, cut a hole in the top, and install this unit pretty much as is in there. Test it for a couple of weeks until I get the rest of the shed ready to go. This unit here, which I'll probably do a video on at some point, is a friend of mine's 1947 under-counter refrigerator, General Electric specifically. It's an R12 unit. It needs some work. So once I get this thing done, I can get it out. I have a nice desk there for doing some work, but you can see that I have a GE monitor top, 1935 CK. Just the top, the cabinet is outside right now. I'll do a good video on that. I got this thing for 50 bucks. Soft dioxide's all leaked out. The discharge line off the float is broken. So that's about it. I just wanted to do a little update to anybody that was curious, and anybody that's interested in building a shed like this. If you have a permanent place to keep it, I would recommend building a good quality shed or purchasing one. You're going to spend more, but you're going to get more for it. But for my purposes, this seems to be just okie dokie. So any questions, please comment. Thank you.